Dennis Allen, head coach of the Oakland Raiders, leading the way for the North team here this week and mic'd up for sound today. And now we take a look at what might be Mike Mayock's favorite part of the week. The one-on-ones, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, really getting after it here for the first time here.
Hey, and look who we're starting.
Recognizable name there.
Kyle Long, Howie Long's son, 2-point stance. Now, good move there. And what you're looking at is Okafor from Texas, who's a veteran, and Kyle Long, who's a really gifted kid, but has only played 1 year of Division I football. Went to Florida State as a 6'7" left-handed baseball pitcher. Had some issues in Tallahassee. Sat out for a year, transferred to a junior college, and he's a very gifted kid. Never played on the right side in his life.
So Brandon Williams, number 66, first-team All-American at the Division II level at Missouri Southern.
That's a pretty good job, though, by David Quesenberry from San Jose State, former walk-on. Charles, watch how he kept his hands inside. He wasn't a grabber. He shot his hands inside. Now, there's a grabber right there. See right there.
Talk about that's Joe Madsen from West Virginia.
Joe Madsen going to keep battling with the helmet off. But watch your hand. When the hands separate and go around the defender's shoulder pads, you're grabbing. And not only are you going to be a holder, but you're going to lose control.
You see that all-white helmet there?
Yeah.
That means his equipment's not here.
Exactly.
Always not his.
This kid from Kent State, Winters, I watched some tape. He's nasty. He's got a nasty disposition. He finishes every block. I don't think he's going to be a tackle. As a matter of fact,
you're pretty sure he won't be a tackle.
Well, at the weigh-in, he was 6'3½", 310, but only 32-inch arms.
And that's what's going to be the issue for Justin Pugh here from Syracuse.
Justin Pugh, a lot of people remember, he's a fourth-year junior, but he graduated in time. They allowed him, the NFL allowed him to come today. Charles, great athlete, right?
Terrific athlete.
Athletic.
Short armed.
And the entire NFL scouting community was stunned when his arms were only 31.5 inches at our weigh-in this morning. So there's a feeling that he's either going to be a right tackle or a guard because he doesn't have those right arms. But he's got really nice movement skills.
99, Michael Buchanan out of Illinois.
Nice. Very, very patient offensive tackle set. And see Fisher right there? That's a first-round left tackle, folks, right there.
Eric Fisher, Central Michigan. He's a guy that brings a lot of intrigue here for people who don't know and don't get to see Central Michigan much.
Yeah.
The whole scouting community knew before he got here. Just what you said, Mike, about him being a first-round guy.
Coming out of high school, he had 2 scholarship offers, Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan. He's got the frame to put another 20 pounds on, and he's an immediate starter at left tackle.
Okafor will test Ricky Wagner here.
I think Ricky got a head start, didn't he?
Sure did. that helped him in a big way.
I think he got a head start.
Okafor finished up his college career 4.5 sacks in the Alamo Bowl against Oregon State.
Led the Big 12 in sacks this past year, 2 consecutive years. First team, all Big 12. 57 is Datone Jones out of UCLA.
Oh, I like that. Well, now, this kid's 6'4", but he weighed in at 280 without an ounce of fat on him. And you could see the quickness there, just a quick step and an arm over. And, boy, was that a quick, explosive move there.
That suddenness, that's his calling card.
Like that. Let's see it again here. Thornton's going to struggle with this. Thornton gave an outside set, and Jones jumped him inside. Jones is too quick for Thornton.
Good job with his hands inside, too.
That first snap he had, remember?
Look at the hands.
Look at the arm over.
Gone.
He won the whole battle there, and the problem with Thornton was he dropped his head. Guys that aren't real up. Braxton Cave, the center from Notre Dame, got beat early but recovered. Sylvester Williams there from North Carolina, very highly thought of defensive tackle. I think Williams is a 3 technique. That's a defensive tackle that lines up on the outside shoulder of the guard. Very quick.
K1 Short out of Purdue, first team All Big Ten, 2 consecutive years.
Another potential first rounder there.
How about that move where he just froze him immediately and then was able to get inside?
48 tackles for loss in his career and 18.5 sacks.
Another white helmet, Charles.
Yeah, his stuff's not here yet either.
It's not easy to get from West Lafayette to Mobile.
Good job there.
Winners, right?
See, the thing about these drills, you're going to get beat because this is the best of the best going against each other. They want to see what you do on the comeback. Yeah. And Winters did that. Got beat on the first one and then comes back for the second one and competes.
Inside.
See that? Stays. Look at him.
He's what I call, Charles, a heavy-handed brawler. Best in a phone booth. Here's Kyle Long, good re-anchor. They're two studs right there, and Kyle held him at the end. Kid from Illinois has got a big, long frame, can add some weight. That's fun to watch.
And he played opposite Whitney Merciless last year. 13.5 tackles for loss and 7.5 sacks. That was his best season. Numbers dropped a little bit this year, but still voted the most outstanding player at Illinois.
Yeah, 6'5", 252. He can add some weight. And Kyle Long, 6'6", 304.
Do you see 304 on him? I mean, he carries that well.
Okay, again, Thornton played both sides because in the old days, Illinois was a tight and split, and he's played on both sides, plus he's played guard. From what I've seen on tape, I think he's got to kick inside.
Let's go, Giant.
Here's the SMU kid, guys.
Interesting prospects. Margus Hunt.
Good job by Quessenberry again.
Came to SMU as a track and field athlete. He canceled the track and field program, walked onto the football team.
Paul, he was 6'8" and a quarter, 277. They call he's from Estonia. They call him the Eastern Bloc because he's got 17 career blocks. It's a great nickname, man.
17 career block kicks. That's so impressive.
Kicks. And that's number 2 all time. 10 blocked field goals. That's an NCAA record.
Hey, Alex, I want you to rush on this.
Okay, you got Long at guard. This is his more natural position right now. He played left guard a lot this year for Oregon. I think his arms aren't as long as I thought. He was about 32 and a quarter. I think he's going to make a living initially inside, but he's got immense upside.
He can move. I mean, he got a chance to do that a lot in Chip Kelly's offense in Oregon. Able to move, get downfield, climb to the next level.
Here we go here. This is a good group right here.
And 79, Mike, the left tackle, Eric Fisher, out of Central Michigan. You described him moments ago as someone who feels like a first-round pick right now?
I don't think there's a doubt. You know, some of the most talented this is a good tackle draft. Everybody talks about the kid from Texas A&M, Jokel.
Luke Jokel.
Yeah, Jokel. But this kid, to me, reminds me of Joe Staley. Remember when Joe Staley came out, former tight end, good movement skills, will start in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks? That's who that kid reminds me of.
And Joe Staley's now a multiple Pro Bowler, too. He'd be going to Pro Bowl if they didn't make the Super Bowl again.
Niners also found Mike Upati here, first-round pick at the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago, too. Also starting.
Remember we talk about heavy-handed brawlers.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the,
it's one of the brawlers.
Yeah, that's the guy. Okay. Thornton, the guard.
At Jordan Hill out of Penn State. First-team All-Big Ten this past season.
You had a chance to watch the Wisconsin tape with Jordan Hill yet, Mike? That'll be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
He had a hard time dealing with him that day.
Career high 12 tackles that afternoon.
Yep.
Had arthroscopic knee surgery late November.
Braxton K from Notre Dame working against K'Wan Short. As a matter of fact, they worked against each other in a game I did earlier this year, the Notre Dame-Purdue game. Cave is a guy that weighed about 330. And when the new strength and conditioning coach came in 3 years ago, we streamlined him. He's about 305, moves much better. This kid lives in the weight room.
Good job by Short.
Short's a little quick, very quick. Braxton's got to get those hands on and anchor. Can't drop the head.
And then what are you? Are you a wiggle guy or what are you?
You look like a wiggle guy. Look how big it is.
Let's go, Brian.
This is the Missouri Southern kid again, Brandon Williams.
Yeah.
That's what you are. Good. You're a power guy. You don't
Lost his helmet and his feet there.
Hear that coaching from Terrell Williams? What are you? Are you a wiggle guy or you're a power guy? Makes a snap,
Even though
you're a power guy.
it's funny how this happens. I was a defensive back, but I'm just incredibly drawn to the O-line, D-line drills because I really believe it exposes both strength and weakness. And the guy for me that starts this off is Eric Fisher, the offensive tackle from Central Michigan. Had a great matchup with Alex Okafor from Texas. Dropped his head a little bit. I thought he was going to lose him, but he's so quick. Power step back to the inside, he wins. Again, versus Okafor, easy kick slide. Now watch the nasty finish, all the way back past the line of scrimmage. Guy that I didn't know much about heading into this week, David Quessenberry, San Jose State, former walk-on, left guard. excellent feet movement skills. They put him out at right tackle, which surprised me, and he still did well. This is a kid that's not going to be a first-round pick, but I believe has the movement skills to play at the next level. Brian Schwenke, is he a first-round pick? No. Do I love this kid as a center? Yes, I do. Undersized zone kid, 305 pounds, moves extremely well, and anchored better than expected against big bodies. This is a guy you can plug and play day one, and he'll play 10 years in the NFL. And finally, Lane Johnson, former quarterback. Boy, he's playing himself right into a first-round left tackle. Stoned to everybody and a little nasty. Talked to some of the scouts on the sidelines today. They kept talking about, yeah, the feet, the hands, yeah, but we like the nasty finish. So when I look at these guys, I walk away from it and go, okay, I got 2 first-round left tackles in this group. I've got a center I think I can start, and I get him somewhere in the middle rounds, and I got to figure this Quessenberry dude out because I'm going to go back and watch some tape. He's a good football player, and I need to see where he fits it in. It might be as a starting guard
at
in the
OU,
NFL.
Lane Johnson in a pretty good race. It looks to be the #1 left tackle in a race with out of Central Michigan, Eric Fisher.
Yeah, you know, Eric Fisher has helped himself immensely on the other side. Now we look at this team, you look at what Lane Johnson has done. He's solidified himself, in my opinion, on 2 practices as a first-round pick. We've got Luke Jokel, who's not here. He's a junior. He's locked in to be a first-round pick. But Lane Johnson, he is a left tackle. He's athletic. He can kick out. He can cover up speed rushers. He's also showed surprising strength to anchor down versus the powerful bull rushers he's seen this week. He's establishing himself as a first-round pick almost a lot.
O-line, D-line, I think,
Perhaps,
right, Paul?
Here we go, O-line, D-line.
Ricky Wagner from Wisconsin. What a long line of really good offensive linemen coming out of that school.
Remember, he began as a walk-on.
Yep.
Turned himself into an All-American player.
We're about to watch Datone Jones, number 57 out of UCLA, and Daniel Jeremiah. I know he's one of the 3 or 4 players on this team that's really stood out to you this week.
No, he's a guy that most teams had kind of in that 5th round area, and he's climbed up this week with the way he's played the one-on-one pass rush. He's made himself some money. That's the one question on him was, could he really be explosive? We've seen that he's moved outside, and he's been able to use his power, a little bit of explosiveness, and his hands have been phenomenal.
Daniel, on the break, you talked to me about putting some things in context, too, with this week. It's very, very important, but it's part of the overall body of work, too, isn't it?
Yeah, this is just a piece of the pie here, and when you think back, Vincent Jackson dropped every ball out here. Matt Jones looked like a superstar, so you have to put everything in context, get back to your facility and watch the regular game tape. That's where the real evaluation takes place.
And 79 is Eric Fisher, Mike, the left tackle out of Central Michigan, and he's established himself as a first-round kind of left tackle. Now, the next question is, how high in that round? I mean, how good is he?
Paul, he's pitching a shutout this week, basically, and I think if you saw, there's Okafor deciding he's going to bowl him, and that's a really good, because he's kick sliding out, and he got up underneath him. Fisher's too high. That's what they're telling him right now. You got to anchor those hips down and anticipate the bull rush. But I was out with 3 or 4 general managers last night, and the conversation was about this kid, and there's Quisenberry, the kid that I think has had a really good week from San Jose against Buchanan from Illinois, who hasn't really flashed what I'd expected to see from Michael Buchanan. But the conversation was about how much that left tackle's helped himself. If he came down here as a kind of late first-round guy, he's leaving here in the conversation as a top 10, top 12 type of pick. And some people are even saying, is he as good as the A&M kid, Jokel? So that's where I go to Kenny Vaccaro, and I say to all those guys, Geno Smith, that had an opportunity to play here, that's how you increase your stock. You come here and you play great, and all of a sudden you're making a lot more money.
Good shot there by Madsen.
Yep.
This is the center from West Virginia. But going back to the bull rush that Okafor had, You know why I like that so much, Mike? Because Fisher had owned him prior to in the one-on-one drills we'd seen.
I agree.
To see him come out and compete on that play goes a long way for an Alex Okafor. You know, that was one of those ones where I'm not taking it anymore. And he went and got it. That was good to see.
There's an up and under. And that's a kid that needs it right there, Marcus Hunt, 6'8". I listened to a couple of coaches talk to him prior to practice, and they were going, don't think so much. Let it go. Be explosive. And that time he goes up, back under, and clearly wins.
And that's not uncharacteristic for guys who haven't had a lot of experience playing either. You know?
Yep. Ricky Wagner, good job again. The kid from Illinois who looks great on the hoof, Michael Buchanan, really struggling People think he might be a 34 outside linebacker, but so far he's struggling to get to the quarterback this week.
Oh, Sylvester Williams, he's had a great week.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah, he beat my guy Quessenberry like a drum right there. Really nice spin move. You don't see that inside too often, but that kind of highlights a 313-pound guy. That kind of quickness and agility.
They're short, and that's what he does. Strong.
Yep, against Braxton Cade. That's been a matchup that Short's done pretty well on this week. Now here's Pugh. We're going to see
He's taking
Pugh
a shot
inside
at
here.
guard
Yeah,
now.
left guard.
And he's getting a good, nice challenge with Jones, who plays in there in the nickel package at UCLA.
Looked awkward there. Head bender, drop the head, bend at the waist. And, I think when you're used to playing outside, it's a whole different feel right there. It's more of a quick set.
And for Jones, that's natural.
Yep.
He plays the end, but in the sub packages, he's moved inside his whole career.
Okafor again trying to bull rush. This time, our favorite term, the re-anchor. He gets a little bit high, but then he sits his butt down. It's like sitting on a stool. You drop your hips, you bend your knees, and you re-anchor. They're going to put him back in again? Good. Here we go.
And here's a kid who gets an opportunity, Mike.
Yeah. San Jose State kid trying to get an edge and use his quickness. Fisher ate it up.
If you're wondering how big Fisher is, he's 6'7", 305, about perfect for the left tackle.
34-inch arms. Quessenberry again with Buchanan. I think Quessenberry's an inside guy. They got him working some right tackle.
But he jumped back in after getting beat on the last move and competed. This guy competes, I think, the kid from Illinois, Thornton.
Yep.
He's done that well for this week. And he did
Hands
it again.
inside. See the hands inside, not grabbing outside the pads. You want to be a puncher and not a grabber, right, Charles?
Exactly. Hands inside to give you that opportunity. As soon as they get outside, you're either getting a hold or they're just going to arm over you or swim by you.
Madsen.
Stuck with it. Stuck with it.
Yep.
Here, one play, go to tackle. Hey, one play, go to tackle with him.
Left guard matchup.
Over at the snap. And that's the kid out of Missouri Southern, Brandon Williams. It's a good shot for him right there.
Yeah, he's 6'2", Charles, 341 pounds, Division II All-American with a lot of production, and there's some natural skill set to him. When you see a Division II kid here, you know there's a reason. It's mostly that, regardless of their size, they're somewhat freakish, and that kid's got some freakish ability.
And 52.5 tackles for loss in his career, including 27 sacks at Missouri Southern.
I can't imagine he got blocked very often on that level. You know, I mean, seeing what we just saw there, he just lived in the backfield.
Seal Moore there, an ad today. It's his first chance in pads after a wonderful East-West week last week in Tampa St. Pete.
See if he adjusts. Two good shots for Pugh, I think.
Pugh just pushed him right by.
Yeah, I thought that was two good shots there for Pugh.
He's an inside interior offensive lineman at the next level, you think?
Well, he's played his entire life on the outside. He's got very good feet. The concern is length. The concern is arm length.
And I asked about that with a couple of guys, a couple of these scouts and evaluators, and they say they want to see him play his way out of there because they think that he's had a pretty good week so far. Kind of keep him there until you have to move him.
I think that's smart.
Okafor, we've seen him 3 times in a row go bull rush. No moves, just right at the tackle.
It almost feels, Mike, like someone said something to him.
I agree.
Like, we want to see more power out of you, Alex. You know?
He's not. Alex Okafor is not a quick twitch, beat you to the outside, come back up on. When you start trying to do too much, you get away from who you are. He's a tough, smart, technique, proficient football player. So you got to keep what got you here, and I think he's getting back to that.
We're used to seeing that. Mike used to seeing front 7 defenders, defensive linemen from North Carolina the last couple of years go in the first round. At least one is Sylvester Williams. I know he's not a DN like Copels and Quinn were, but is he that kind of talent?
He's a little bit more like a Marvin Austin, who we saw a few years ago that was a first-round talent, fell out of favor, played an East-West game because of the off-the-field issues, ultimately became a second-round pick. So if you're asking me from a talent perspective, Sly Williams is a little bit like in that category, and could he be a late first-round defensive tackle? He could. He has that kind of ability.
Well, the other Williams, Brandon Williams, is flashing for us this morning, guys.
Yep.
It's 2 straight wins.
Okay, here we go. Fisher against Jones. all over.
It's not even a contest. Jones is a guy who's had a terrific week.
What I like about Fisher is, with the exception of one time this week when he got beat inside, he's been patient. He kick slides. He trusts his feet. He knows he's quicker and longer than everybody he's going up against. And you know what Fisher did prior to coming here, guys? There's the bull again. There's the inside move, where I love what he just did on the inside move. His inside foot, it's called a power step. Parallel to the line of scrimmage, he just buried him right into garbage. Watch when Okafor comes back under. Look at the right foot. It never opens the door. It just drives him parallel to the line of scrimmage. That's beautiful. But, Charles, you know what he did before he got here?
Talk to me.
Fisher went on YouTube and checked out all the defensive linemen he was going to be blocking this week. In other words, he found a way to watch.
He did a scouting report.
He did a scouting report on all the guys he was going to play against this week. Isn't that cool?
And all the defensive linemen are thinking to themselves now, they should have checked YouTube on him.
Nice job by Thornton.
Here's a direct quote from a top player personnel director in the NFL about Fisher. I was asking about defensive ends and how they look and what have you. They said, well, they look pretty good until they had to go against Fisher. Then they all look bad.
We're going to have some company here to set after we'll see a fully padded practice, the final fully padded practice for the South team here before Saturday's game.
Yeah, I kind of like some of these drills they do, Charles, because it allows you to see whether a guy's a natural bender or not. You hear me talking all the time about dropping your hips, bending your knees, and each group now is an individual. Each coach is working on individual drills with their position group. Check them out. See, can you drop your hips without using your hands, without using your arms? Drop your hips and change direction. And it's pretty easy. It exposes. Look at Ezekiel Ansah here. They're carrying some heavy bags through there, and it exposes tightness in the hips. If you can't naturally move through those cones, it's difficult.
Montori Hughes is just decimating those bad boys as he dips into and tries to slide around them. Those shoulders are taking those bags out.
Well, you don't talk about decimation here. Here's 359-pound John Jenkins, right? Watch this guy. For a big guy, his movement skills. A couple years ago, Paul, remember Phil Taylor from Baylor?
From Baylor.
You know,
First-round pick.
Yeah, those are the kind of guys that you're looking at. Can they be a 34 nose tackle that can play 50 snaps a game effectively like a Vince Wilfork? That's what you're looking for. Corey Grissom from South Florida, 313 pounds, trying to get through. I'm really enjoying these kind of drills. The defensive backs are about 20 yards away. They're doing all their individual drills, and pretty soon they're going to pull everybody together, and we're going to start to see some of that one-on-one that we enjoy so much.
The South team, once again, final time in full pads before the game. Practicing here, just getting started. Time for a short break. When we come back, they'll be going full speed, one-on-ones, and we'll show it to you here inside Ladd Peoples Stadium.
Well, I've heard a rumor that this guy at 6'6", 302 can run a sub-5 40. So I'm here to confirm, Lane, that that's actually true.
Yeah, last time I got tested was last winter. I was probably weighing around 305 and got timed at 471 and 473, and strength coaches kind of like that, so I mean, it got some speed to me. I guess I kept it from playing tight end and quarterback. So
how is that speed helping you on the line here this week?
Just quickness, trying to get to the defensive ends before they get to me, and trying to slow them down a little bit.
You mentioned quarterback and tight end. You've played all over the place. How does your vision help you out there on the football field?
Well, I think when you play quarterback, you kind of understand defensive schemes, blitzes, and where things are coming from, and now I have a greater appreciation playing tackle because I know how it feels to get blindsided in the pocket. So,
what's the biggest thing that you've proved to the scouts here this week?
I just want them to put a name to a face, show them that I'm strong, I can anchor well, and I'm a good athlete. So.
Thanks, Lane.
Yeah, thank you.
Paul.
It is hard to believe that man was a quarterback not too long ago. That's a big quarterback.
And we're talking about junior college. So when you say not too long ago, you're exactly right, Paul. We're not talking about pee-wee football. He was a quarterback. Junior college played quarterback.
Xavier Nixon from Florida, phone booth offensive lineman against that linebacker from Stanford, Jase Thomas, who I love him, Dave.
You too? Has he ever been in the wrong spot?
No, he's a little stiff occasionally in movement skills, but he's just everywhere. He's where he belongs all the time. He's getting an edge rusher now against Nixon.
Malachi Goodman out of Clemson.
This kid's got almost 36-inch arms, the Goodman kid. Got overextended. All Nixon's got to do is lay on him. So much more with hand fighting and use of feet in this drill. It's not about brute power. Watch how they use their hands and how they move their feet.
And Memphis La Tech had a good day yesterday. What do you think about his hands there, Mike? Talk about the offensive tackle there.
Yeah, you want to see a puncher, which means you want it on the inside of the body as opposed to separating your hands and grabbing the shoulder pad. It's a grabber.
Jordan Mills. Let's kick from Shadry.
Gilkey jumps at that. He got on him quickly, and it was a hold, and the coaches don't like it. But Gilkey went after him because he felt like, from a speed perspective, he was probably going to lose. So he jumps at him.
And some offensive line coaches like to use that technique as a nice little change up.
See, there he is. He felt the Florida State kid overextending Everett Dawkins and just used his own inertia against him.
It's a big-time word right there.
Boston College.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, baby. Private school education, do it every time.
Now, here's my guy, Schwenke. Again, anchors against that big body. The question I had on Schwenke was, could he anchor against a big body? I know his quickness, I know his speed, I know he's a zone offensive center. Can you anchor? And he's answered that question for me. He's handling those 300-pounders lined up on his nose. Look at him. Look at the anchor, Charles.
Yep, that's
the textbook, huh?
Yeah. Sorry, Paul.
This kid's really helped himself. I believe he's one of the kids that's helped himself as much as anybody in the game.
And what I like about this drill is everyone's shooting 1-and-1.
Yep.
Meaning you make one, you get a second shot. Just like a basketball deal, you're getting the 2 shots at it.
There's some big. Now, let's see, how many tons of fun are there? Warford's 330.
If that wasn't a sumo,
and Jenkins is 360.
If that was not a sumo wrestling standoff, right?
Charles, this is a great matchup. Warford is a foam booth guard who's got better movement skills than people think. Jenkins is 360.
No, let him stay.
No, that was a good matchup.
The tough part, though, for Jenkins is I think he has to be in better condition, right?
On tape, he runs down too easily. I mean, look at Warford now. That time they try a little quick movement skill from the South Florida kid, Corey Grissom, and he eats it alive. Another guy that had like a 3rd, 4th round grade on him coming in, I think he's better than that. I really like him.
If you go back to the Jenkins one where he got taken out the second one, if you really wanted to punish him, make him go back to back.
That's right.
All right, you got him out and let him get him rest.
Yeah, Abushi's not a left tackle. I mean, we said that yesterday.
Hey, let's go.
Kid from LSU, LeVar Edwards.
Do they ever not have defensive linemen? Ready for the draft. I mean, LSU is just a defensive line factory. And you talk about 2, 3, 4, it feels like per year, and all of them can play.
And then they had all the juniors come out this year. That just means I got to watch a ton of tape that I wasn't hoping to watch.
You guys have extra work to do.
Let's look at some feet and hand placement now. On the right side, Mills. Who's he going up against? Ansah?
He's going against Ziggy Ansah.
Hands inside. See, Ansah, there's such a buzz. Every West Coast scout, early in September and October, the buzz was incredible about this potential first rounder out of nowhere. Via Ghana to BYU through track and field. I just don't think the kid understands what he's doing yet.
How little football he has played is stunning. To talk about a guy who potentially could be a first-round draft pick.
He's only been playing college football for 3 years. No football in high school. You see him helmet off, grabbing the face.
1-year starter.
Right.
Probably poked in the eye there or something, but he just looks confused to me. There's a good job there. And by the way,
Josh Boyd
just got here today. 312-pounder from Mississippi State.
Here's the second shot. What are you going to do with it?
Now you notice that my guy Schwenke's a guard. I don't think he's as comfortable there.
But he came back. He bounced back on the second go.
Yep.
Daniel Jeremiah. Schwenke has impressed a couple of guys up here. Charles. Mike, what have you seen from him? What have you heard this week? No, he's not hearing me right now.
That's okay. Stay.
Daniel's locked in.
So
he's locked
we'll get him back in here.
We'll get him.
He'll come back.
Corey Grissom.
Hey, guys, you got me?
There he is.
There you go. Hey, one thing about Schwenke, you guys touched on it, Mike touched on it, all these Cal offensive linemen that have come through the last few years. He's a well-coached kid. He knows what to do with his hands. He keeps his hands in tight. He doesn't get caught with wide hands. When you're watching an interior lineman, whoever wins the hand battle, whoever's hands are inside, they win 90% of the time. He's done a great job in that department.
And look at Warford here. There's the matchup, Charles, we were just looking for, right?
That's sumo wrestling right there.
Jenkins looked like he was going about half speed there, didn't he?
When you watch Jenkins on tape, Paul, when he's fresh, when he's in a rotation, he's pretty good, but only in short areas. When he gets tired, he just leans on you.
Hey, guys, on Jenkins, one term I hear about Jenkins from a lot of scouting friends, they call him a faucet player. He turns it on and he turns it off. Right?
Yeah. And you talk about that offensive line coaching at Cal. That's Jim Mahalik, who was the coach there for Jeff Tedford, who's helped crank out all these offensive linemen. There's Teron Armstead.
We had him last week at the East-West game, and the kid from Arkansas Pine Bluff came out of nowhere. I thought coming out of that game he was the highest-ranked offensive lineman in the East-West game for the way he performed. He's raw as can be.
Get him. Give me another defensive end.
And he just got off the plane this morning. So this is a difficult situation. He just got off the plane, and he's lining up against an SEC kid, and he stoned him right there.
Good job.
Now
And
jump on
finish
him.
it. All right, let me throw something at you guys about Teron Armstead. Here's what I've learned about him. Okay, sprained the AC joint in his shoulder 2 days before the season opener, guys. Missed the season opening game. Played the rest of the season. End of season, finally gets this thing looked at. He has a crack in his collarbone at the end of the collarbone that he's played with all season long, up to and including right now.
Tough kid.
Now, how about that, going through a season, going through the bowl game that we did just last week, and coming out here to compete now. We talked about this morning about Denard Robinson playing with some toughness. Teron Armstead's going to get double bonus points because all this is going to come out as he goes through the medical exams at the combine and the whole deal. It's there, and he's been playing with it. And trust me, guys, he really didn't want. He really said, "Look, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing." And I said, "Guess what, big boy? They're going to find this thing. You're not going to be able to hide it when you go through." And he's been playing all the way through. I give him a ton of credit.
To Bushi now, where I think he's going to have to play in the NFL as a guard. I don't see him at tackle. Doesn't have the movement skills on the edge by himself on either side. I don't think he might survive at right tackle, but I think he's going to have to kick inside. Here we go. Center again, hands inside. Florida State. That's another win for Schwenke. Started to lose that hand placement as it gets up around the collar. That's where the holding get called on those interior offensive linemen.
Yeah, but he made that spin on it.
Yeah. Right there.
So
See the hand of Florida State kid try to use the hand, and again he gets stung. Everett Dawkins can't get around Schwenke. Lane Johnson was just before that, did a good job on both his reps. What we got here? Mills.
Moving him inside the guard now to take a look.
Yep. Tell you, I'm impressed by the offensive linemen in this game. Some of them, like Mills, I haven't even seen on tape yet.
But he makes you want to go watch tape, though, doesn't he?
No.
He's intrigued me.
So the defensive tackles, when they stand there and jab their feet like he just did there, Josh Boyd, and you don't gain any ground, it makes it easy for the offensive lineman. All you gotta do is be patient. You can't sit there and jab your feet if you run a 5-3.
I did have a scout tell me, Mike, for Jordan Mills, punching the Texas A&M tape against Demontre Moore, a highly rated defensive end.
Good job there by Mr. Johnson, who
he doesn't look quite as polished and powerful as
not.
Eric Fisher in the morning.
Paul's good eye. He's not. Fisher's going to go early. This kid, I think it's more about the upside here. Look at him. He got jolted that time, but he did a good job re-anchoring. He got jolted.
And congratulations to the newlywed Lane Johnson. Got married after the Cotton Bowl.
Lane Johnson at the University of Oklahoma, one of the top left tackle prospects in this draft. Our path to prime time will bring you right back here to Mobile on the other side of this break. Just the quarterbacks here and the defensive linemen here getting some work on a Thursday afternoon. 2 days until game day.
And you can see the coach has got a football. They're obviously going on movement off the football. And then Charles, it's just a little bit of a drill to see get upfield. Are you a natural bender? Ansa that time, too tall. But let's see you drop those hips. Outside, it's all swim, rip, and then finish. There's the outside rip.
You heard the coach exhorting him gently to stay off of the ground.
Right, right.
Stay on your feet.
Exhorting him gently. 360 pounds right there, folks.
That's a whole lot of man right there.
It makes Grissom at 313 look svelte.
You know, it may be early. Coach's patience is being tested quickly.
What I love about these kids is they're not spoiled. It's Thursday. They're not in pads. They're all flying and trying to impress because they're being evaluated on every single snap.
You know, Paul, you tease Mike and I about us being down on the field, and you do the same thing because that's why you can tease us. When we get down the field, we talk to the players and we talk to the coaches. You talk about what this day is and being quick and these guys wanting to be out here. Because of the training, because they've absorbed it all this week, it allows them to play at that faster rate. That's why we're seeing them able to out here bounce around and play quick.
It's like a drive. There it is, a limbo. Here, you do the limbo. This is the D-line version of the limbo right here.
I got to tell you, the Davis family never limboed.
I don't think we're vacationing.
So if Ma and Pa Davis are listening, I want to know why we never limboed.
Check it out, though. This is a cool. This is where you can see a guy if a guy's a natural bender or not. He's got to get under the pole, in and out. I've never seen this drill before. I'm getting a kick out of this. Everett Dawkins from Florida State. The bigger, heavier guys struggle. That's a pretty good job by Montori Hughes that time.
Paul, the Mayocks obviously took some really good vacations. You and I sound like Howard Johnson's.
Hey, we can limbo in the Mayocks. I'm thinking that's one of the reasons Mom gave birth 8 times in 8.5 years.
Now look at now the thing about this, Mike, that you're talking about. Size, weight, everything is still the same deal, right? Can you bend?
Yeah.
Right? Can you bend and still be fluid? Not just bending and stopping, slowing yourself down to go underneath. Can you be fluid going underneath and still keep that rate of speed?
Every drill we
Look
see.
at that. Yeah, that's pretty good right there.
That's smooth right there.
That's smooth.
LeVar Edwards. And now down the other end, there comes Ansa. He's got to set himself a little bit, but you can see how explosive he can be.
See, I would think the D tackles
they're going to struggle.
I would think they'd have a little more advantage because they play low.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good point.
You would think.
I don't think they're as natural benders as the other guys, but you're right. Some of them are. But now, down the other end, we happen to have a little man-to-man stuff going on, too, which is cool. We're going to see some one-on-one red zone stuff. Hey, the most obvious example of that was a highly rated guy, a tackle from Central Michigan, Eric Fisher. From my perspective, the buzz on the way in was this is a guy that go late first round. I think he's a first-round left tackle. Eric Fisher, to me, 6'7", over 300 pounds. He moves easily. Right there where I thought he was going to lose it by dropping his head, had the feet to recover and drive. What I liked even more, he's a more aggressive kid than you think. Look at him. Drive him right past the line of scrimmage. Physical, tough, great movement skills. Next, Brian Schwenke. I think I was in the minority. I came here thinking this kid can be a starting center in the league. I loved his quickness and explosion off the ball. What he did better than I thought was anchor. He had a reputation as being a smaller center, undersized zone guy. A zone team's going to fall in love with him, and he's going to start at the center position
over the sideline. Now, how about a guy who got a late call? Wasn't originally on the roster, Jordan Mills from Louisiana Tech. You want to really test him? Plug in his game film, Louisiana Tech against Texas A&M, against Demontre Moore, one of the highly regarded defensive ends. Did a nice job in that game. I think he's done a nice job all week opening up some eyes, being a good pass protector and a big body. And then Datone Jones, I got to see him play a lot this year in college. A natural defensive end, moves inside in the sub and nickel packages to rush over the guards, and he's way too quick for a lot of people. Even Eric Fisher had to battle him in order to stalemate him. Datone Jones is another guy that made some money because people wondered where to play him. Is he an outside linebacker? Is he a defensive end? I think it doesn't matter. Find a spot for him, turn him loose, and let him go get someone.
You know what? I think the other UCLA guy made some money, too, this week, Jonathan Franklin.
Yes.
There's been a positive buzz on him also.
Yeah, the pass protection came to the front for him, didn't it?
We just saw Datone Jones going up against Eric Fisher, who Mike pointed out, potentially a top 10 pick at left tackle now. He's not the only left tackle who's done well this week, though.
No, everybody's saying Eric Fisher is a lock first-rounder, and that was known coming into this week. But Lane Johnson from Oklahoma has been outstanding. He's dominated in one-on-ones every single day. And I've been impressed when I've watched even the 9-on-7 stuff, how physical he's been. But you watch him here in pass protection, you want your left tackle to make it look easy. And he did that. Also switched over to the right side, showed his versatility. He played both sides at Oklahoma. He really didn't have any holes in his game this week. And when you look at him, he's really hiding 300-plus pounds. This guy has the frame to add another 20.
Him there, Mike, was John Jenkins out of Georgia. And every season, there's a huge three-technique nose guard. There's not many of them. Who's a pretty good athlete, had decent production at a big school like Georgia. And we wonder, is he worth a first-round pick? Is Jenkins that guy this year?
I don't know yet. I've watched 3 tapes of this Georgia defense so far, and I have to watch a ton more because there's so many players that have declared as juniors for the draft on this defense that are gifted. The outside linebacker, number 29, the inside linebacker, Ogletree, number 6. This kid, when he's healthy, when he's not winded, when he turns that motor on, it's special, and you want him to be your 34 nose tackle or your nose shade in the 4-3. You want this kid as a two-gapping run stuffer. You want him pushing a pocket, but too often you don't see that. So I don't want to ding him too hard, because one of the things I've learned doing this now is that a lot of college players are like that. But once they get into an NFL rotation and they know they're only going 35 plays, but they all got to be 100%, some of those guys are able to do that also. Vince Wilfork, he's an anomaly. He's one of the few big-bodied, 330-plus pound guys that plays every freaking snap. I'm so amazed at Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, it is amazing, especially when you look at Vince Wilfork. When you look at that body type, you would never suspect that he could go at the rate that he does, kick out and play some 5 technique at times. You know, all those things, you just wouldn't see it, yet he does it time in and time out. And last but not least, guys, you get out of 20 hours a week, right? The college rules where they can only work out 20 hours a week, mandatory day off. When it becomes your job, your profession, you're in there full time. Otherwise, you don't last long.
Yep. Daniel Jeremiah, put a bow on this John Jenkins discussion. The way you see it right now, is he worth a high pick, like a first-round selection?
Well, the one thing is, it's that planet theory that Bill Parcells is known for. There's only so many guys that big and strong walking around on the planet, so they're going to always have high value. You know, I was in Baltimore. We selected Haloti Ngata with the high pick, and there were some people that were down on Haloti because he took some plays off. But when you take into account he's playing at Oregon, they're running so many snaps, he's 350-plus pounds. These guys don't have it in them to play hard for that long period of time.
And I get, Daniel, I get the comparison from a size perspective. I certainly don't get the comparison from a movement perspective. I think Haloti Ngata is the only one on this planet that has that skill set for his size.
Oh, and I agree with you, Mike. I'm not comparing them as players, just as big guys that take play. You know, they took some plays off and get nicked for that. But yeah, in terms of talent-wise, Haloti's on an absolutely different level than John Jenkins.
Yeah, he's from the University of Mars.
There, number 69, Lane Johnson, a topic of discussion all week.
Yep.
Is it safe to say he has secured a spot somewhere in the first round?
I don't think it's safe yet, but I would certainly say he's highly trending there. Right? And, you know, he's played both sides. We haven't gotten through all the interviews. What kind of kid is he? What's his work ethic? Does he have any ghosts in his closet? You know, all that's the kind of stuff, Paul. But I kind of agree with Daniel Jeremiah in that he had an excellent week. You can put another 20 pounds on that frame, and he certainly looks and moves like a first-round pick. So I think when it's all said and done, as long as he checks off all the other things, yeah, I think he's a first-round guy.
Daniel, what else should we know about Lane Johnson?
Well, you know, he's kind of has that country attitude. You know, I talked to the coaching staff that's worked with him this week with the Lions, and they've been very pleased with him. He's learned really well in the meeting room. That's what you like to hear. And he's a good kid. So when you get the character things start to check out, you get the mental stuff check out, I think we've seen the physical tools check out here on the field. So with as many teams we see needing tackles in the National Football League, I just have to believe this kid is a lock as a first-rounder.
Teammates love him, too. And, you know, that's one of the things you always have to identify, too. How do your teammates respond to you? At his wedding, all the offensive linemen at the wedding. And since we've been here, I've gotten texts from one of his teammates, Gabe Eichert, wanting to check in on him, give me extra nuggets about the young man, wanting to praise him and promote him. That tells you how they feel about him.
It's such an important measure, too, when you go to the teammates, because they will tell you what that kid's been like the last 4 years. His quarterback, Landry Jones, is leading the way right now. You had him for his last game. You had him for more than that one game this season. What do his teammates think of him?
Love him. Absolutely love him. I could not find a teammate that would give me anything close to a slight against Landry Jones. And they went out of their way to talk about how him coming back last year, when there was a possibility of him going out the year before, was one of the most selfless acts there was, because he wasn't bringing back all of those receivers. He's bringing back one experienced receiver. Offensive line was being reshuffled. They weren't sure what they were getting coming back, but he felt like he needed to come back, not just to improve his game, but to help improve his team overall. So in some ways, he took some dings when maybe he didn't have to do that. So his teammates absolutely love him.
And that's going to do it for Mobile, at least for right now. The 2013 Senior Bowl practice, day number 4. Be sure to join us this evening, 10:30 Eastern to be specific, for our Senior Bowl recap show. For all of us here in Mobile, Alabama, that's Charles Davis, Mike Mayock, Rebecca Harlow, Daniel Jeremiah. I'm Paul Burmeister with a reminder, game day is 2 days away. Kickoff with the Senior Bowl at 4 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. You can watch it right here on NFL Network.